Alright. I really just want to kind of jump into this, but I cannot believe we are actually nearing the end of Season 7, and I am so looking forward to it now. And today's episode is, at least, I'll say this much, it's better than the last 3 episodes I reviewed. So, let's just get into it. This is Uncommon Bond. So our episode starts out with Starlight basically kind of pestering a lot of ponies about how good of a friend she is with Sunburst, because Sunburst is coming to visit, and after a rather pointless fake-out, we see Sunburst show up.
Sunburst! You made it! Of course! I've been looking forward to this visit for a long time. What? Whoa, how long are you staying? Just a little reading for the train.
Well, a little reading for a lot of reading, but basically it's kind of like me when I pack, a lot of the games that I want to bring over, but I think I end up playing 1 or 2 of them. God, Sunburst, you were so relatable.
Same old Sunburst.
So after the theme, we basically see that Sunburst wants to take Starlight to the antique store because that's what Sunburst is into.
Wow, what a difference between the hook-molded bricks and the extruded ones, right? Oh, and check out all these chandeliers. Sometimes the crystals have magical properties. Oh, that's cool. How do you... Sunburst, I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah. So while during all of this joys of learning about the antique store, we see that Twilight is here, and we see that Sunburst and Twilight start to bond more and more. And we get some nice little foreshadowing.
Made by the mighty helm. Without the help of unicorn magic or Pegasus flight, the Earth ponies of the mighty helm were able to map the entire coast of Equestria.
Considering how the theme of this season, at least from what we've seen in the second half of the season, has been talked about legends, there seems to be something going on here. Some gears are turning that I'm kind of looking forward to.
Cool.
But we see that Starlight just kind of feels a bit out of the loop as we then just get a montage of just basically Twilight and Sunburst just being dorks while Starlight's just kind of being the essential third wheel. But then we get this line.
You don't have to pretend to like all this stuff.
What? No, I do like it. I mean, if you like it, I like it.
Remember this moment. Just keep it in the back of your pocket, but it's something I'm going to bring up a little bit later.
Besides Saddle Arabian vanity.
So while Starlight just feels like more out of the loop as basically Starlight and just continues again to be the third wheel while Twilight and Sunburst continue to be dorks, or Starlight is naturally feeling a bit out of the loop until they actually recognize maybe we should do what Starlight wants and...
Five. Sometimes with a one-side...
Why don't we look through this stuff later?
Yeah. What do you want to do, Starlight?
Well, I don't know if you're going to remember this, but...
Is this...
Dragon Pit! I remember that game. You two used to play it?
Pretty much any time we weren't working on magic. I can't believe you found a copy.
Yeah, so... Honestly, I really kind of honestly wish they actually made a real-life board game of Dragon Pit, because I kind of want to know the rules about this game. I guess this is kind of like ladders and snakes from that episode of SpongeBob, I would assume. But I guess maybe because I understand like it's not the focus, but it would be kind of nice to know about, this...
Sunburst would get so excited whenever his dragon got trapped, he knocked the whole board over. That's adorable.
Well, it's an exciting game. But I have a little more control over my horn now.
Oh, some pony's dragon's gonna get trapped.
And we see that the fireball is the marble and... Twilight still being the excitable little dork as we always love her for.
Huh. I guess it is adorable.
So after they have their fun time with their board game, we do get to see Sunburst exposit a bit.
Oh.
But mostly about Twilight.
Pretty great.
Right? I mean, I know she's a princess, but I never thought she'd be so fun to just hang out with.
Well, she is the princess of friendship.
Right. I guess that makes sense.
So, tomorrow, I
I
thought...
suppose I'm just surprised at how well we get along. I don't have much in common with most ponies.
I know he said most ponies, but you notice how he doesn't try to address the one pony who is his childhood friend that is standing right behind him? Yeah. So because of this, Starlight starts to have a bit of self-doubt, and after the first commercial break, she gets a bit creepy the next morning.
Hi, Starlight. Is it morning already?
Yep. Maybe a bit early, but like you said, there's a lot to see in Ponyville.
Right. Okay.
Plus, I couldn't really sleep. I just kept thinking about all the stuff we have in common and how much fun we'll have today.
When it's still the middle of the night and it's not the crack of dawn yet. So yeah, that's a bit creepy. So, the Starlight brings Ink Sunburst over to Sweet Apple Acres, but after kicking to the apple tree, she has a quick run-in with Trixie.
What are you doing here? I often seek the privacy of the orchard to practice new feats of amazement.
And it's nice to know that her teacup spell has gotten better.
And also I fell asleep. Oh, well, Sunburst and I were just catching up, so...
So then Trixie decides to show off a magical little trick to Sunburst and Starlight, but she ends up getting stuck.
The great and powerful Trixie requires a little assistance.
And it sounds like that she was getting choked there.
There's a special link.
But despite the trick that Sunburst claims he knows, he has just as much difficulty to get out of the trick, so Starlight has to help Trixie out for him.
Well, if I could do magic like that, I'd have a whole slew of new tricks at my disposal.
Or you would just become a really boring performer to watch.
I always liked close-up magic because I knew I could do it if I just practiced enough.
So we pretty much get yet another montage of Sunburst and Trixie actually getting along with one another, and even when we see some tricks, it is nice to see Trixie have a little bit of character development where even though Sunburst tries to do some... From the times that we've seen of how very angry she gets, we actually see that she has a lot of patience when Sunburst is struggling with the trick. At the neglect of Starlight. Now, yes, I understand that Starlight is not being, mostly proactive in this part of the relationship and just feels kind of like a bit out of the loop, and that she's not putting in the effort to try to be more involved. But you can't really blame her because she wants to have more one-on-one time with Sunburst. So then she...
But the mirror pool is actual magic.
Yeah, so basically, after that run-in with Trixie, she takes Sunburst to the mirror pool that we have not seen since Too Many Pinkie Pies back in Season 3.
Oh, this place is pure pony lore.
Yep. I mean, it's supposed to be all dangerous. I guess I shouldn't have broken the seal to get in, but you wanted to see the sights of Ponyville, right?
Well, to be fair, the quote-unquote seal was just basically a giant rock over the hole, so it's a very easy seal to remove, so I can't really blame her, but, yeah.
So, the Pinkie Pie just dove in and made copies of herself?
Mm-hmm. If we made copies of ourselves, we could get a year's worth of hanging out over in one day.
Red flag.
Not that we would.
Alright, well I do give Starlight credit that she doesn't immediately jump over that boundary, so baby steps. But then they have a run-in with Maud, who basically, once again, Sunburst is infatuated by what Maud is doing.
Not exactly. I'm uncovering this section of strata for closer study.
And once again, Starlight feels like she's out of the loop.
I'm studying this area
get the planar fabric to be this consistent.
You know about geology.
I dabble. For example...
So once again, we have yet another montage of Sunburst basically bonding over with Maud and failing to neglect Starlight. Just so you know, remember the line from the antique store where Sunburst recognized Starlight was feeling out of the loop and told her that you don't need to like what I like? Guess he's not saying it now, is he? As Twilight basically asks Starlight what is going on.
Trixie, studying new rocks with Maud? You're here, so I guess you two aren't off translating some ancient old Ponish text. What are you talking about? Why would Sunburst be doing any of that? I thought he came to Ponyville to see you. I thought so too, but it hasn't worked out that way.
So after some advice from Twilight, Starlight then decides to bring Sunburst over by creating a magic spell to basically reenact their childhood memories.
There's more!
Okay, so Starlight created a spell that causes them to de-age. Is that what I consider to be creepy? Yes. Yes, it is. So, as they try to play the game, Sunburst ends up snapping at Starlight.
I don't play the game at all!
What's going on in here? Nothing. I was trying to have fun doing the one thing I thought we still had in common. But I guess we don't even have that anymore.
And you notice how Sunburst just stares at her and not recognizing she was feeling uncomfortable or even tried to address if she, or even ask her if she was okay? Big issues there, aren't there? As after Starlight runs away, Sunburst tries to figure out what he did wrong.
I don't understand. Starlight and I have known each other since we were foals, but that doesn't mean we have to be foals to hang out.
And yet you have not taken 1 ounce of effort to ask her what was wrong with her. So why did you decide to ask her if she was okay? Hey, earlier in the episode. Why did you just decide to just not ask her when you were hanging out with Trixie or Maud if she was alright? Why did you just snap at her without even asking her why she's doing this or even try to console her? So, Sunburst, if you could...
Give me an answer, Brandon, please! Give me a frickin' answer! Why?
And we never get an answer. As...
Starlight does have a tendency to overdo.
I mean, it is surprising how well I get along with all of her friends, but she and I still have tons in common.
Insensitive prick. Anyways, so recognizing that he may have made a bit of an oopsie-daisy, Sunburst tries to go talk to all of Starlight's friends to figure out what he did wrong and what they have in common with Starlight.
And we're self-conscious about every pony judging us, even though we've both changed and are trying hard to be better.
Yeah, we don't really have that.
I can think of something you have in common. You're both poor practice audiences.
Starlight and I don't really have a lot in common, other than feeling different from most ponies.
Alright, so I will give this episode this, is that it basically tries to address a lot of the different commonalities that, Starlight has with a lot of her other friends she's made over the course of the seasons since Season 6. Even more so, the episode does try to address the different kinds of ways that one wants affirmation in terms of a relationship, where Starlight basically hinges on emotion while Sunburst focuses on more physical, as we do see why Starlight has this connection with Maud, as she explains.
Well, it's more than I can think.
Mostly we're just comfortable around each other.
used to be. Neck over anything anymore. And
Serious? That was a... Well, at least it's not serious. That was a joke.
Tell that to the shippers that try to ship these two together multiple times. So, after Starlight recognizes her mistakes as well,
And bodies.
we then see that basically Sunburst basically got all of her friends together to make a real-life version of the game for the adults.
what made the dice?
Pumice is the lightest igneous rock. It seemed the best choice.
And I added the special effects. There's nothing like a little well-placed magic smoke. Looks like some pony dragon is gonna get trapped. I thought you didn't want to play this game.
Well, I didn't want to pretend to be a fool, but I know you wanted to play. I thought it'd be fun to play a version big enough for full-grown ponies. What do you think? Fun, right?
Thing.
Also, it would have been a nice little Easter egg if she actually carved out with the magic of friendship. So essentially, they all get to finish hanging out with each other and gave a bit of a group hug.
About us not having anything in common.
Yeah, I kind of think it doesn't matter as long as we enjoy each other's company.
And I noticed you didn't bother to give her an apology for neglecting her all day, prick.
And that game was
So then, after an admittedly adorable group hug, Sunburst gets on the train where we see in the barrel that he got from one of the scenes I skipped. I smell foreshadowing! I like the episode. I mean, I will say this. This was a marked improvement over the last 3 episodes that I did watch. It was very nice to see Sunburst and Starlight somewhat interact. I honestly do have to dock this episode points for Sunburst not seeing more of Starlight's feelings of how she feels about a lot of the things. However, this episode definitely does a great job of trying to address the different kinds of ways that Starlight can bond with different ponies. And I think what I like more about the episode is that it basically is kind of like what Maud says, where sometimes where Starlight was able to bond some ponies over similar interests, but more so connect on an emotional level, but just more so have a relationship where they're just comfortable in each other's skin. Well, Sunburst is more based on the interest and probably more physical reaffirmation. It is nice to see them both recognizing their mistakes, kind of, but it's nice to see in the episode bond. I mean, there's nothing that was like super grating or frustrating about it. It was honestly mostly reasonable for the most part. I wouldn't say that this was one of my favorite episodes of the season, but given the last string of episodes that I reviewed, it was literally like a godsend to watch. So honestly, I'd probably say Uncommon Bond, I'd probably think would get a B-. I think maybe just because there's just nothing inherently wrong with the episode, but it's not really interesting enough for me to highly recommend it, and just even more so, it tends to be a little bit grating at points, especially with verse, but it shows that they're both still flawed, but they still have communications to work on, and they were still able to bond with all of Starlight's new friends. So yeah. So, Uncommon Bond, I think, gets a B-. Not the best episode, but better than the last 3 episodes. Oh my god, I cannot believe we are nearing the end of the season. It feels like this season flew by a lot faster than it did, now that I'm getting back on the recording schedule. Alright. So next time, we are going to be taking a look at the first part of the Season 7 finale, Shadow Play. See you guys next time. Bye.